Chapter 4. By the time I was 7 years old, I'd learned to ride and was comfortable riding a horse. Our town had a lot of farmland, and the main thing that people did was dress like cowboys, farm, and ride horses. Bob and Nancy took me to my first rodeo when my dad was tied up doing something at our ranch. Their granddaughter Kathy was 10 and participating in the barrel racing and goat roping events. I had never met Kathy before. I watched with interest as kids younger than me rode their horses around 3 barrels in a 3-leaf clover pattern. In the goat roping event, they tied a goat with a 10-foot long rope to stake in the center of the dirt arena. The riders raced across the arena from the opposite end and performed a flying dismount, already leaping off their horse before it came to a complete stop. Then they ran to the goat, flanked it, and then tied 3 of its legs together. Then the rider stood, throwing out their hands to stop the time. There was a 6-second time period that the rider had to stand there to make sure the goat didn't come untied. I thought that was more amazing because all the girls jumped off the horses before they stopped riding. "I want to do that," I told Bob of the goat roping. "I don't know that your dad will let you," he replied. "You'll have to ask him." I had noticed that whenever Kathy wanted something during the day, that she sat on Bob's lap. Yeah, I never did that, but hey, I wanted to do this rodeo thing. I climbed up on his startled lap. "Bob, you can talk my dad into this, right?" I asked him in an innocent tone. I knew I was so cute. That's what people said all the time about me. Well, they also said I was the devil's spawn, too, when they thought I couldn't hear them. Bob reluctantly agreed, so I completed my mission by throwing my arms around his neck and hugging him with a big "thank you." It was my best performance ever, because if he agreed with something, then my dad would too. When I got home, I ran into the front door yelling, "Daddy, I want a rodeo! I need to rodeo!" He was in the kitchen drinking some Gatorade and was tired. I was normally a calm kid, so this running and yelling was unexpected. "What are you yelling about?" he asked me. I talked to Mal a minute about how the girls rode the horses around the barrels, and the girls rode the horses and tied up goats, and the guys rode bulls, etc., etc., etc. "I see. I'm going to take a shower," he replied. "No, I have to tie up goats. I have to barrel race. I need a special horse or something," I explained. "You're too young for that, and I don't want you getting hurt," he told me as he started walking towards the stairs. "No, Daddy, I saw babies doing it," I insisted. "You did, huh? We'll talk about this tomorrow." I knew it was no use pursuing the matter, so I went to my room thinking up a strategy to get my way. After a few days of me talking about goat roping and barrel racing, Daddy talked to Bob. It was a plus that Kathy had started barrel racing when she was 8. Cinnamon, the horse that Kathy had been riding, belonged to Bob, and he told Daddy that I could ride the horse and practice at his ranch. He assured Daddy that kids younger than I were perfectly safe participating in rodeo events. He told my dad that he'd foot the entry fee for me on my first rodeo if I got that far. He was so silly. I was going to be a champion rodeo kid. Nancy picked me up early the next morning to take me to their house. She and Bob were our next-door neighbors, but it was a half-mile walk to their house, and at 7 years old, I wasn't allowed to walk it by myself yet. I found out that she had once done barrel racing. She took Cinnamon out of the barn and saddled her. Then she walked the course out around the barrels to show me the pattern to ride. She followed with the riding pattern as it should be ridden. She explained how to prompt Cinnamon around the barrels, and I should be riding at full speed into the event and out of the event to get my time down. I paused before I got onto Cinnamon. I'd found before riding a horse you had to make friends with it. "What's the matter, Pumpkin?" Nancy asked me. "Gotta make friends with Cinnamon first," I informed her. I stood there with my hand on Cinnamon's shoulder beside the saddle. She was huge, and I could barely reach her mane. I closed my eyes and took a breath, feeling the energy. It clicked, and I was on the same level as her. She put her head down, and I took that as a sign that she could lift me up, and I could crawl onto her back and into the saddle. I heard Nancy sputter, "What are you—" as Cinnamon lifted me up and I crawled into the saddle. I smiled at her as I'd gotten up there by myself. Usually Daddy had to put me in the saddle. Now I was a big girl. Nancy was smiling but shaking her head in wonder at me. I guess that Cinnamon didn't help Kathy onto her back like she had me. I prompted the horse into a nice slow gait around the barrels to get the feel of them. I practiced with Nancy coaching me. About 30 minutes later, I stopped trying to direct Cinnamon and instead thought about the route. I thought as we got close to a barrel how we were going to get as close to it as we could, going as fast as we could. It was like an aha moment when the horse responded and I'd gotten the best time yet. All I had to do was hang on and enjoy the ride. Good girl, I told Cinnamon. She was going to get an apple for that. I saw Nancy looking at the timer. Did I do good? I asked her. You did really well, she replied in a puzzled tone. You took off 5 seconds. I smiled in amusement. She was eyeing me. Just how did you do that, child? She asked. I let Cinnamon do it, I replied. Okay, so I was somewhat lying, but none of them could have handled the truth. And she was sure to tell Bob and my dad. She had me try goat roping next. They had a dummy goat that they'd bought for Kathy to use to practice instead of a real goat. I had a little trouble with the flying dismount. I nearly landed flat on my face a few times. I'd fallen several times, but I kept getting back up. Nancy made me stop. We have to go shopping, she told me. Why? I asked her. There was no way I was going to a store. To buy you some cowgirl clothes. I found myself being taken to the Tractor Supply store that also had Western clothes, boots, and hats. I obediently followed her as she picked out jeans, a belt buckle, boots, a plaid shirt, and a cowboy hat for me. She went into the dressing room with me, and then I found myself dressed in that garb. I looked at this weird-looking creature in the mirror, and then I turned to Nancy. Seriously? I asked her. I look stupid. I had been wearing regular jeans, a red t-shirt with an iron-on of Aerosmith and Reeboks. You do not look stupid. You're cutie. Besides, to participate in the event, you have to wear this. It's one of the rules, she told me. I just want to be badass like Steven Tyler, I complained. Even at 7 years old, I loved Aerosmith, and yeah, I knew who Steven Tyler was. I knew the band members and all the great rock and roll bands, and some of the lesser-known ones. Christmas Angel DeVito, Nancy reprimanded me. You stop with the cussing before I wash out your mouth with soap. Do you hear me? Yes, ma'am, I replied, because Bob had washed my mouth out with soap before, and it wasn't pleasant. And so that's how I conformed to the country-style dress. What have I told you about cussing? My dad demanded as he saw me later at the dinner table. All I said was ass. It's not like I said fuck or anything, I replied as I looked up from stirring around the purple hull peas on my plate. I hated purple hull peas, and I didn't know why we had to plant them, and I definitely didn't know why we had to eat them. They were so yucky. But don't be saying that either, especially not the F word, he warned, and eat those peas. I grumbled. It was Bob's fault that I knew the F word. I thought it was cool that everyone thought the word was so distasteful. Can you believe she bought me this stupid cowboy outfit? I asked him. Do you want to do barrel racing? He countered. Yeah. Then you have to wear it, and it's not stupid. You look cute in those clothes, and Nancy paid good money to buy them for you. Did you thank her? No, I hate them. Okay, so I got sent to my room and almost grounded. At least I didn't have to eat those stupid purple hull peas.